Welcome to the Stars in the Making. My name is Ricardo Ngolo. As always, Shams Vision behind the camera. Today we are here with Tony. He's a professional athlete in triathlon and he's making a career change. And we're here to talk about how do you deal with a career change in a professional, once you were a professional setting and you are trying to go in a different career or doing different things. So, of course, I'm going to say, let's welcome the one and only Tony. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Ricardo.
All right. So, Tony, talk to me about yourself. Can you explain about the triathlon? What is this?
Yeah. So, I grew up in South Dakota. Mm-hmm. We're actually, I think, one of the only states in the country where there's no professional sports.
Right.
There's no professional sports teams in the whole state.
Wow. Wow.
So, I guess just going down there, like there isn't as much pressure to maybe do those big sports like soccer or football or basketball because of those, because you don't have those big sports teams that you cheer for. So I always did swimming growing up, and my dad was a swimmer in high school and college, and
nice.
did triathlons afterwards. And obviously swimming is a good skill for anybody to have, so you learn how to swim and don't drown in the lake or a river one day. Right. Aside from learning how to swim, he got us into competitive swimming. Mm-hmm. And one year we were going to have the first annual Rapid City Triathlon in my hometown. Yeah. We were going to do it as a relay. My dad was going to swim, a family friend was going to bike, and I was going to run. Oh, wow. The family friend bailed last minute, and my dad said I did the whole thing, and that was my first one, and I really enjoyed it.
Wow. So you got this, you started doing it because of your dad, or that was like, he did that before?
Yeah, he did that before. He did those after college.
Oh, nice. Yeah, so you were just like following the path. Mm-hmm. Awesome. So explain a little bit more, how do you get to this point? Because I know that you went through a lot, how it really works. How long did you work? Did you did that professionally?
Yeah, so my first time doing a triathlon, again, was like around I was 12 years old. Mm-hmm. But my first professional race was my last year in college, and I was 22 years old then. So there was a 10-year progression from my first race to my first professional race.
You were professional while in college?
In college, I was on the university track and cross-country team. Okay. At the University of Michigan. So I kind of took a break from college for those 4 years to run in college. And then once I was done with running, then I got back into triathlon.
Wow.
Went from there.
That's awesome. And this career change, I think that nowadays it's really hard to understand about like everything, especially like now in our society. I work as orientational leader. You don't really know what to do. Maybe you're going to college for doing like a career or whatever it is, and you get to the point that you don't enjoy what you did in school, or you just want to do something else. Like, so what was your experience on this? Like while you were working, doing professionally, doing a triathlon, and why did you think about like changing?
Yeah, so when I was in school, I studied engineering for my undergraduate. Yeah. I really liked science and technology, and that was kind of a logical career or major to study. Nice. But I knew that I really enjoyed sports also at a really high level, and I liked pushing myself and challenging myself and being really competitive. So I knew that I wanted to try to pursue to make an Olympic team after I graduated from college. Yeah. And you only have one life, so there's no time to chase those dreams when you get older. And if there's any time to push yourself physically and mentally and chase your dreams around the world, it's when you're young. So I'd really like to do that when I was younger. You can always be an engineer when you get older, but you only have one shot to be really in shape.
I love that line. I love it. It's awesome. Such inspirational. And so now, who you look up to? What was your role, like your parents' roles through all this, your professional career?
Yeah, so I guess like maybe going back to the career change, my parents have had lots of career changes growing up too. Yeah. Kind of like almost like serial entrepreneurs, or they just really know how to reinvent themselves over different careers. And I think maybe just goes back to being flexible and being willing to accept challenges, and not seeing it as a challenge, but as more as like an opportunity and something new that you want to accomplish or work towards, and not as really an obstacle that's blocking your path, but an opportunity.
Awesome. So by you choosing this, what was your main goal? It's like, what do you wanted to have in life? Did you had something in life like as a goal, like having a lot of money, or you just did it because your dad did it?
Yeah, I just did it because I loved it, and I liked pushing myself.
Mm-hmm.
It was never to have like any sort of fame or
Sort
money
of,
from it.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
there isn't much money in professional triathlon, so you wouldn't do it hoping to be a millionaire one day.
Yeah,
I just really like to see myself progress and see yourself get better and have that autonomy over your life and see a bit of the world too. And just really enjoyed all those experiences.
Right. Talk to me about like the mental toughness that you have to have, or you have to face while you're doing that, like the practice.
Yeah.
How was it? How was the practice? What did you learn from that?
Yeah, you need a lot of dedication to do, I guess, sports at any high level, and no matter what the sport is.
Right.
So I think a lot of that I definitely learned when I was younger, and not just from sports, but from my parents working in their careers too. A lot of it is just being consistent and sticking with something for day in and day out until you don't know when you might have success, but I think once you work towards something long enough. Yeah. Most people don't have that sort of commitment to one thing, and I think if you can stick something out and see yourself making little increments towards it, then one day a lot of those hours that no one sees behind the screen finally pay off.
Oh,
and I think you might. People see professional athletes on the screen and say, "Oh wow, look at this kick he made, or look at this toss he made, or look at this how fast he runs." But I think if most people saw the hard work that people did off the field, they wouldn't seem as impressive if you saw how many hours you had to train to do that.
Yeah, that's exactly
an hour or something. It would seem, oh wow.
I know the mental toughness. I know that you had injured. Like, what was the reason? Why did you stop at that point? Because of your injury? Can you explain a little bit how that happened?
Yeah. So injuries are pretty common. I guess in most sports.
Yeah.
Especially in physical contact sports like football or wrestling or soccer even. Thankfully, you don't have those like high impact sports or high impact injuries in triathlon because it's an endurance sport. Yeah. But you can get injured just from wearing your body down so much. You're always, I think your immune system's always a little on the edge because you're training so much and pushing yourself physically. So that makes you a little more susceptible to getting sick and being ill. But also you can just get knee injuries or Achilles injuries or back injuries or all this stuff from being in one movement pattern a lot. Like in a sports like soccer, your whole body is really balanced because you're making all these different movements, different muscles all the time. But in an endurance sport, it's oftentimes the same movement every second for hours. So that's your practice. Yeah,
particularly you had like, what was your injured? Like, what did you have?
Yeah, especially when you're a runner or a cyclist, you can have like a lot of lower body injuries. When you're running, even though you're not running into people, you're still pounding your feet against the ground for
sorry,
for
I
hours.
don't want to cut you off. So triathlon is like you swim and run at the same time. Is that it?
Yeah. So you start out swimming. Everyone starts in their swimsuit and they jump in a lake or a river or a harbor and swim a couple laps. The distances that I did, it was a little over a mile swim. Yeah. And then you did a 24-mile bike and a 6-mile run.
Wow. And one thing I wanted to go back to, how is the pay? Because I understand like most people out there, sometimes like when you are doing a particular sport, you look into like the pay, like how is the pay and all that stuff. And how is it like the sports that you did at these sports? It's like, how is like the pay? Can you really like,
it's kind of an interesting business model to be a professional athlete. It's not just like you're not really working for somebody, you're working for yourself. So you have to find ways to get paid. A lot of it is from prize money, or it can be from a stipend from your national governing body, or it could be from sponsors, or it could be from speaking events. I guess it could be from or it could be coaching on the side. But I think for most professional athletes, at least when they start up. I know a lot of professional athletes are like, hey, I'm a professional runner. But that often means when someone says they're a professional runner, that it means that they work part-time and they really are good at running, but it's not what brings in the money.
So you don't get the money like monthly or things like that. You get the money mostly when you are
have a good performance or
a good performance.
Yeah. So it's not a steady paycheck that you might normally get.
Yeah. This is something that you gotta love it. You can't like just go there like looking after like money or things like that. You really gotta love the sport.
And I think that's one thing that makes injuries difficult is that if your paycheck is dependent on your performances, but then you get injured, your injuries prevent you from doing what you love, but also prevent you from getting paid.
Right.
So that can make injuries more stressful or harder to overcome. Yeah. Because there's a lot more pressure to get healthy because, again, there's some mental heartaches to it too because it's stopping you from doing what you love, what you do every day, but then it's also stopping you from paying yourself for necessities.
So coming up, as like a young kid, what was like always in your mind? What was your dream? Like in order, like maybe having your freedom or having a lot of money and things like that. What was your dream like?
Well, when I was young, I guess I didn't really remember this, but my parents always said that I always loved running. And if we would drive through the national forest, I would get out and be like, I just want to run next to the car.
Right.
So as a young kid, I always loved just running for the fun of it. And I always I always talked about like making the Olympics or trying to make the Olympics. So I mean, obviously there's like a little bit of fame in the Olympics, but I think the Olympics are more of a pinnacle for me because they represent like the best in the world. And I just wanted to push myself and try to see myself as like the best in the world. And it's like the ultimate level of achieving like peak fitness or
of course. And many people like out there, when you think about pro athletes, and I think I was always into, just the toughness that you gotta bring, the mental toughness you gotta have. And like you are in front of all those people looking at you at those moments, like, what do you think about? It's so much pressure. Like you see all these professional athletes and all that stuff. And especially I wanted to come, like you travel in many different countries.
Yeah.
And talk about it a little bit. How do you deal with all that stuff?
Yeah, I think that was one thing that I fortunately didn't feel like I had to deal with too much.
Yeah.
I think since I was younger, I don't know if it was what I learned from my parents or from just my mindset, but I honestly didn't feel like I had much pressure on me at any point in sports growing up.
Yeah.
I think most pressure that we experience, aside from like financial difficulties, most pressure is like really internal. We put on ourselves.
Yeah.
Where if you had a bad race, your friends still love you, your parents still love you. Hopefully your coach still supports you.
Right.
So I think most of the pressure that people feel is usually kind of just manifested inside of them, and if it doesn't really exist, and oftentimes it's hard to have pressure that helps you. It's good to have some pressure that makes you feel excited or really want to get after and do this competition to the best of your ability. But I thankfully didn't have pressure where I felt like it was a distraction or a detriment to my racing.
Awesome.
I just loved racing and didn't really feel that pressure as part of it.
Beautiful. What do you want to say? What is your message for someone out there who maybe want to get to that level as you as a professional athlete, and maybe thinks that when you get to that point you're gonna be all these like excitement, gonna have so much money and all that stuff. What is your message for someone who is just starting out?
Yeah, I think the foundation of it is just doing something you really love.
Right.
And working towards it and doing it just because you really love it. I think you shouldn't really focus on what you want the outcome to be. But just doing it for the enjoyment of the process, for the enjoyment of just doing it. And oftentimes that makes that brings the results that you want anyways.
I love that.
But I think a lot of it is just embracing different obstacles you see along the way as opportunities and not like there's something trying to stop you or slow you down.
Awesome. When you say about the outcome, I love that because most of the time, so when we are doing something, especially you get attached so much to the outcome. Like, okay, if I start this, you expect something, and then when that doesn't happen, that's like a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And I actually just learned this just a few years ago, that when you're doing something, you gotta do it because you love it. Mm-hmm. Because it doesn't matter. Don't get attached so much to the outcome. Whatever it is, whatever the result is, you gotta put you in position that, whatever the outcome is, I'm gonna have to deal with it. Yes, I love it. Yeah. I'm doing it because I'm just having fun.
Yeah.
Like all the time. And people that think that, they have that thing, like, okay, the thing, like whatever I'm doing, whatever they're doing out there, the outcome has to be this and has to be that. What do you want to say about?
I think that's a really good approach. I think if you do have to have some sort of outcome, and the only things you should try to judge yourself on is trying to remove the other people from the equation. And although you might want to win a race or score the most points, I think it's important to realize that someone else could have a really good day, and you could have a really good day, but they could beat you. But just because they beat you doesn't mean that you had a bad day. And I think it's important to keep it into perspective, like comparing yourself to your past self, and not always comparing yourself to everyone else.
Awesome. And other thing I wanted to know, like, how was your, did you had like some kind of hardship that you maybe remember, maybe in your parents, like growing up and stuff like that, that you always had to kind of look into that and see that, okay, I need to change? Did you had something like that?
I think I was really fortunate enough to not have too many hardships growing up.
Right.
I just think I had parents and grandparents who were good role models and pointed me in the right direction, and they themselves were able to pursue their passions and their dreams when they were young. And I think having them teach me that with enough work and dedication, you can like follow your own dreams and paths was the direction I needed.
Oh, I was looking up in your story and stuff. There is like a little passage that it says, when you say that competing is fine, but sometimes it distracts you from, like facing problems. You said that you like to face problems. And stuff like that. Can you explain that? Something I didn't really understand. I wanted to go deeper on that.
I think we were talking about how having athletes do sports can help you overcome different challenges in life. Or even just like learn skills that you can't learn in a regular setting. And I think sport is a good way to teach teamwork and commitment and dedication, and sometimes how you can achieve success by like having some suffering, honestly. And it's not always about like being happy or having fun, but sometimes it's important to have some sort of suffering in order to enjoy like the positive days. Beautiful. But I think sport can be exaggerated too much, where you think the purpose of your life is just cheering for your favorite sports team. But at the end of the day, even though we spend all this time training for these competitions, that the results don't really have an impact on the greater like path of the world. So it's important to not be too consumed by the results of a sports competition, and be more consumed about how your actions affect people's lives around you.
Awesome. And one thing I wanted to know, again, we're about to close. So do you have any heroes, like people maybe, you look up to?
I think when I was younger, I had a hero was Lance Armstrong. I think a lot of bad things have come out about Lance Armstrong in the last few years. So I don't think he's as much of a hero anymore. But I just think that maybe my biggest hero for me is like my parents and my grandparents. I think they've lived really good lives and followed their dreams and were nice to people. And I think that's kind of the way you should live your life.
Love what you said, following your dreams. Tell me about a little bit, a message that you want to send to someone who is not following his dreams. Maybe he's just doing it because somebody else forces them to do it. Because nowadays, I talk about this so much because this is what it's about, this show about, really talking about our dreams and where we want to go. Like, especially young people out there. Like, if you are young enough and you are not following your dreams, you are doing it because of somebody parents or whatever, but you really don't enjoy what you're doing. What do you say to those people?
Yeah, I think it's really important for you to find what you enjoy doing. Oftentimes if you follow what you really love doing, then I think the rest of the pieces just like fall in place.
Yeah.
And it's easy to find a career or a path out of it.
Yes.
I think it's also important to do what you like to do and not do it maybe not because you are really great at it, but because you really like to do it. Right. Because if you do something you're great at, but you don't, maybe you're good at it, but you don't enjoy it, or someone forces you to do it, I think you're not going to be happy in the end. So you want to enjoy the result you achieved, or the result won't be the one that you set out to in the first place, because you can't stick with that commitment and dedication if you don't enjoy the struggles that you're going to definitely have to face in the future.
Awesome. So where are you right now? Like, what are you doing like at this moment?
Yeah, so now I stopped racing a little over a year ago.
Yeah.
And I decided to go back to school to do pursue a master's degree.
Yeah.
In robotics. So I'm doing engineering in robotics.
Yeah.
I think engineering in general has solved a lot of problems in the world, and I think you can solve a lot of problems with science and math and technology. And I think robotics have the possibility to make people's lives easier and maybe reduce some suffering and make the world a healthier and better place. So I like to try to solve some of those with technology and robotics.
Wow, that's amazing. I really love our conversation, and I wanted to go one last thing. I don't know if you answered that. The countries, like when you had to go to different countries, you had to deal with different people, different languages.
Yeah.
Like, did you work? Did you speak like different languages? Like how you had to communicate with other athletes?
Yeah. I think fortunately we're a little spoiled in the United States. We're definitely spoiled, where most people only know English.
Yeah.
Which is great because most people around the world know English also.
Yes, that's right.
So that's helpful.
Always
being an American athlete, racing other places. You can communicate with almost everybody.
Yeah.
I always tried to learn a few words when I went to different countries, but it doesn't get you very far. But at least it's kind of like endearing, where you can say thank you or hi to someone in a different language where you are. So that's helpful. But I traveled so much and went to different places, but only for a short amount of time. So I couldn't learn French to be in France for a week and then learn Dutch to be in the Netherlands. Yeah,
I don't want to cut you off. There is one thing that you told me that, once you travel a lot, you go to different countries, it really get tiring. Mm-hmm. You get really tired, like traveling, because maybe there is someone out there think that, okay, going to all these places is such amazing. What do you want to say about that? Like when you say you get tired, what is that? Yeah,
I think for some people it might seem like a lavish life on Instagram where you are
exactly
in a new country every week or every other week.
Yeah.
But I think it's important to realize that I was in these countries to do my job.
Yeah.
So oftentimes maybe I'm going to a race and the race is on the beach in Italy.
Yeah.
But in order to be your best self for your race or your job on Saturday, it means like being in your hotel room and resting up all week. So it might mean cleaning your bike and laying in your bed in the hotel room every day until your race comes, and maybe reading a book. It doesn't mean being in the sun outside. It doesn't mean checking out the nightlife. Yeah,
you can't just go anywhere you want to go.
So I tell people that I was like always on vacation, but never on vacation. You got to see these cool places. And I got to see some really cool stuff and experience a lot of cool things, but I wasn't like I was there for vacation. And the last couple of years, I don't think I appreciated much at the beginning of my career how much I was able to travel and see. Yeah. So afterwards, I tried to stay in a place for like a full day, at least after my race, so I could really enjoy seeing a new place or new culture. And I definitely met some people along the way, athletes and non-athletes, who are still friends today. And
love it.
Cool to see in different countries.
Wow. Thank you so much. I love your outlook. Thank you for sharing your story with us in the Stars in the Making. And good luck in your career and everything. You are definitely a star in the making. Just the last, before we go to the game, there is a game that we're going to have to do. Before we go there, what is the message you want to send to everyone, every kid out there that maybe you want to follow the same sports that you did? What is your message to anyone out there, maybe hopeless or something like that?
I think my main message to everyone is it's really about your outlook and your mindset on life.
Yeah.
And I want people to see that the obstacles are more like opportunity,
Right.
and not something that's slowing you down, but something where you can grow and become a better self.
Beautiful. All right. Thank you so much.
Thanks,
and
Ricardo.
we're gonna go for the game. We're
All
not
right.
done yet. All right, let's get it done. All right, so now you're gonna have to go spin 3 times. You have 3 times, and if
Okay.
you don't want to answer the question, you don't have to. But you can spin again, and yeah, we'll go from there.
All right.
Yeah, just spin, not too hard. So, awesome. Yep. Let's see. Question. Are you excited for the question?
If I spin it faster, I have more time to think about it.
Wow. Any siblings?
This is easy. Yeah, I got one older brother. He's 4 years older than me,
Oh, nice.
and he lives in my hometown with his wife and their 3-year-old son.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. Amazing. Let's go for another one.
All right.
Where to next? That's exciting.
Yeah,
That's a good one.
I'm actually going to Switzerland in a couple of weeks to see my girlfriend.
Oh, nice.
She's
nice,
starting
nice.
her master's program in Lausanne, Switzerland.
Yeah.
And I'm going there to visit her to help her.
No,
with
actually,
that.
I had a chance to meet her. She's such amazing.
Yeah,
and,
she's a wonderful lady.
Yeah, say hi. Let's say hi to her.
Hey,
Hi.
Charlotte.
Yeah, so the last one, let's go for the last.
All right.
Yeah. Okay. In the
Another easy
relationship?
one. Yeah, that's obvious. Yeah.
Yeah. We just talk about her.
Yeah, my girlfriend, I met her in Arizona actually when I was training there.
Uh-huh.
She was on the women's triathlon team at Arizona State.
Wow.
And I was training with a group that was part of ASU.
Oh, she did that too?
Yeah, she did triathlon also. Yeah.
Oh, both of you guys in the same lane. I
Yes,
love
we're
that.
both,
Wow.
Both really active.
So you
and
guys
healthy.
really understand each other. So how long? By the way, how long are you guys in a relationship?
About 3 years.
3 years.
Yeah.
Wow,
And
that's-
she's from Germany originally. So I'm learning German now, and yeah, it's going really well.
Well, like, can you say like something in German? I'm gonna put you on spot. Say, it is something you wanna say like in German? Like just a word.
Danke is thanks.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah,
Wow. Yeah. So we're done with our game. Again, thank you so much for coming. We really appreciated your outlook in life, and I hope everyone, all the stars in the making out there, keep dreaming big and stay tuned. Of course, I'm gonna say bye. Shams Vision, of course, behind the cameras, right there, he's smiling, and Tony, our pro star. There we go. Good luck in everything. Thank you.
Thanks.
All
You
right.
really
Take
enjoyed
care.
it.
We out.